So how do Bathfitter generate $137.5 million per year, maybe as high as $450 million per year with their digital marketing? What I have done is I've processed everything that they do digitally. I've distilled it into a very small video, hopefully 20 to 30 minutes long, that you'll be able to take, implement into your business, drive more leads, drive more revenue, and put more money into your back pocket. So, you can do all the things that you want to do. So if you want to make more money and generate more leads with your digital marketing and you're in the construction industry or you're a contractor, the best thing that you can do is smash that like and subscribe button, because it helps me with YouTube algorithm and helps me as an introvert to generate more videos. And believe me, they're much harder than they look for me. And let's not go into that. Let's jump straight into today's video and see how Bathfitter are able to generate over $100 million worth of revenue per year. All right, so here we are at my computer, and the first thing I want to touch upon is their Google Ads. So these guys have been running Google Ads for quite a long time. So what we can deduce from that is that Google Ads work. And I mean, you'd have to be some crazy lunatic to think that Google Ads doesn't work or it's too expensive, because why do businesses use it? Why do they use it for such a long time? And why have I been doing it for, damn near 17 years. So just having a look at the brand of Bathfitter, we see that it gets searched 23,000 times per year just within the United States. And that we also can see that Bathfitter here, and there is another Bathfitter here, have been running ads for quite a long time. So they've got kind of two domain names running ads for them. Again, just proves the point that it works. These guys spend, I would suspect, a good chunk of cash each and every month. Yes, they are a franchise, but they've got to generate leads for all those franchise locations, which even goes further to proving the point that the franchisor has what you would consider like an easier way to generate revenue, because they're not actually doing the work or the implementation. The franchisee at the local location does that, of course, but their margins as a franchise are small, right? Because they're only taking a small percentage of the commission. Yes, it's easy money, don't get me wrong, but they've got to generate revenue for those people in order to sustain the growth as a franchise. So the reason why I say that is it proves the point that Google Ads does well, because I've had 2 calls in the last 2 weeks where the person's like, I don't really want to do Google Ads, it doesn't work, it's burnt me in the past. Well, again, like one of them was a plumber, but if you give me plumbing tools and ask me to fix a job, you're going to get a really poor outcome. If you give Google Ads put that in the hands of someone who doesn't know it very well, you're going to get a bad outcome as well. The tool is only as good as the person wielding it. So, don't give me plumbing tools, and, give people who know what they're doing a Google Ads account and a good business to promote. You'll do very, very well. So let's dig into actually their Google Ads. So what we can see here is obviously, something that we do not want to look at or too much, and that's the brand, but I was having a look at. We want to have a look at where are they driving actual traffic. So their landing pages. So we've got this one here and we have this one here. So we're going to look at 2. We might have a look at 3 just for the sake of it if it's worthwhile. So the first one here, immediately we see an exit pop-up or an entry pop-up, right? Now, I'm not the biggest fan of entry pop-ups. I think it just leaves a bad taste in the person's mouth. But if you have a really, really good offer, right, I think it is actually worthwhile, because if an irresistible offer is not seen, it doesn't transfer any value. This one seems to be pretty decent, save 20% up to $1,100, right? Or, right, bait and switch-ish kind of thing. No interest up to 5 years with no money down. That's a pretty good offer when we're talking about the current financial time of where we are in the world, and that interest rates are quite high. The cost of living is drastically going up, but wages aren't growing as quickly, potentially. Well, anyway, conversation another day off camera, but nonetheless, is that we see that this is a pretty good financial offer in the marketplace, right? So I'm not opposed to an entry pop-up for this landing page. Now, I'm looking at this with the desktop version, right? No doubt this is probably mobile focused, because there's a lot of dead space here. And, it's just not a great desktop landing page, because we've got a lot of open space where we could put a value proposition. We could put a sub headline that supports the value proposition headline. We could have benefits and features and so on and so forth with bullets. We can have proof elements, etc., built in here that we just don't have. But again, we still at the top of the page are honing in on the offer, which is fantastic. It just fits. I mean, it's trademarked. Why anyone would want to trademark "it just fits" is beyond me. I think it's a completely idiotic kind of headline. What fits, like, in a sense, I know, but like if you were to read that generically and it wasn't on bathfitter.com, right, you would be thinking what fits. Like, could be anything. Is it a shoe? Is it a sock? Is it a glove? You know, if the glove doesn't fit, you have to acquit, kind of thing. So like it could be in relation to that. Who damn knows? I certainly don't. So I think it's a ridiculous trademark, but nonetheless. So fill out the form below to request your free design consultation. What's a design consultation for? Like, we actually don't even know. Like, is it for baths? Is it for gloves? Who literally knows? I don't. As we move down, we still haven't told them, like, we've loosely told them where they are, but we're not telling them what or why, right? So it's a pretty poor landing page up to this point. Then we move into 1-day installs, 2 million installs, right? So here we're talking about like a feature / benefit 1-day installs that's really quick. Obviously, that's not going to impact my life or family all too much. 2 million, you must be doing something right, because that's a large number. Lifetime warranty, risk mitigation, I like that. There's a lot of research done around like mitigation, like guarantees and warranties. The longer it is, the better they pull, right? In terms of pull, I mean, conversion rate is better. Right. It's also, the longer they are, the weirdly enough, the less likely the warranty or guarantee is to be invoked, because it's forgotten. So a lot of people kind of have some weird thoughts and ideas around guarantees, and longer the better. The bolder the better. Like, you rarely pay for them, and potentially I'll do a YouTube short around a really bold pest control guarantee that worked really, really well. I built a $30 million pest control business. But again, a video for another day. No demolition. Obviously, that's pretty nice. It's unlevel. Then we move into, I recommend Bathfitter to everyone. Well, you're not going to put in negative testimonials, but nonetheless, it's a good layout of a testimonial in a sense, right? Because we've got a summarized version of the testimonial, which makes it easier for it to be consumed by the visitor. Then we've got the actual full testimonial. And then we've got the star rating, which is 5 stars. We've got Keisha Johnson. And then what we could also put is ideally a picture of Keisha, maybe a picture of her bathroom that was like before and after. We could also put in her location. Anything where it removes the skepticism that this testimonial is fake, it's not real, it's made up. ChatGPT wrote it, you know, so on and so forth. Anything that we can do to reduce that like fakeness factor or skepticism, it is definitely worthwhile. But overall, in terms of structure, it's well laid out. They're just missing some little aspects in order to improve the testimonial. As we move down, we're looking for, we're starting to hint, towards financial options and stuff. As I mentioned before, the financial aspect in the world at the moment is what it is, and I'm not going to talk about it all too much, but finance offers and talking about finance is doing quite well within the construction and contracting space with all of my clients that offer it. And the better the terms, the better the conversion rate, right? So if you have to wheel and deal and talk to a couple of different companies in order to get a better finance rate, I say do it. It's well worth the 5, 10, 15 hours invested in that. If you've got someone else that can do that on your behalf, even better. Now, as we move into this section, again, here we see that they're speaking a little bit more to their target market. They're not targeting people who are after full bathroom renovations. They're after a very niche segment of the market that wants a lower economic cost to their bathroom renovation, and with less impact upon their life, right? So they don't want, the 10 to 2 weeks process of renovating a bathroom, or the demolition, walls ripped out, so on and so forth, right? They just want wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, get in, get out, improve accessibility, safety, etc. for their target market, so on and so forth. But they're starting to speak to that, not in a great way, in my opinion. They could definitely build rapport and meet them on an emotional level, but they're a little bit, how would you put this? A little bit more direct, like trying to, just shove the benefits and features, down the person's mouth, as opposed to like leading them in, sucking them in through emotion, and then connecting with them, and then talking about the features and benefits in relation to the emotional aspect of that purchase, right? But as we get into the actual features here, the bullet points, we've got 1-day installation, which we've spoken about, right? And so, we know how busy life is, so on and so forth, yada, yada. And then we move into no demolition, no mess. We've spoken about that before. This is a really constant kind of process, these 2 major bullet points. And then we move into the 3rd major one, which is the lifetime guarantee, which is fantastic. They've moved from warranty to guarantee in terms of verbiage, but I think guarantee works a little bit better than warranty. Especially if you can put a unique name behind the warranty. So like name it. So like, I don't mean name it in terms of like a generic kind of, the ironclad guarantee. No, that's just absolutely terrible. But like you would name it in the terms of the bath fitter promise, right? Or you could have the perfect fit pledge, or the forever bath guarantee. If we were to come up, it just fits promise, right? That would be a better trademark in a sense. Loosely better, right? But it's going to fit to them specifically in relation to something that actually gives value, right? As opposed to, it's just a lifetime guarantee, which is not as persuasive as something that has a name. Something with a name has much more persuasive power. It's a name, much more thought's gone into it. Then you can build out the guarantee, and that's where you see where guarantees really jump up conversion rates and drop those cost per leads significantly, allowing you to scale your marketing, generate more leads at a lower cost, but also allow you to grow the business in a much more profitable way, right? And as we come down, millions of happy customers. This is a really big focal point, I think, that they don't do all that well with, right? Because if you've served 2 million people over 35 years, what I would be doing is potentially up here, I spoke about headline, sub-headline, bullets, right? You could even integrate either and I would test this, right? And you could have like the text intro, right, beside this form, but I would also integrate a map, right? So we're in Denver, Colorado here. They do a lot of stuff in Denver, and they've got plenty of other locations, I'm sure, but I would have a map of Denver, and I would have all of the locations that they've done work ticked, like like a little, what do you call it? Things that you put in maps. Someone in the comment section will give me the name, and I'll probably remember it as soon as the video is over. But a little pin mark, and then put the person, make it interactive, right? So the person can hover over it, and then they can see a review before and after pictures, right? Yes, it would be a lot of work, but that would substantially increase the conversion rate, lower that cost per lead, but would also increase the rapport that people have with bath fitter, right? Because people of Denver have trusted bath fitter, right? And these people, I can see that live near me. I may even know some of the people, probably unlikely, and you can actually interact with these locations in that before and after testimonial related fashion. I think that would do a really, really good job of improving the conversion rates here. As we move down, we just see transformations before and afters, which I think is grotesquely underrated and underutilized in this industry, both whether it's like roofs, whether it's like even solar, like before and after utility bills, like people are just insane in terms of the lack of credibility. The 2 biggest reasons why people do not buy, don't have the money, can't do anything about that, right? Like we can't give people money in order to pay us money, right? We can help things with financing and all that kind of fun stuff, but that has a limit. The other thing is that they just don't trust that you can do what you say that you can do, right? There's not enough credibility and social proof transference to suggest that, hey, I trust Bren to build and renovate my bathroom in the way that no one else can do it, right? And Bren has all this proof, and Bren's the best, etc. Again, if you go Bren any tools in order to renovate a bathroom, you're going to end up with a really bad outcome. But to illustrate the point, proof and credibility, you just cannot have too much of it. As long as it's legitimate, and it's not made up, it's not fake, and you do everything you can in order to remove the skepticism around it, you just can't have too much of it. As we scroll down, we move into like a comparison table. These always leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And to be really open and honest, I've never really done all too much with them. like they're always crafted in a sense of, it always positions, the business that's created it in the light. And, I know enough to be moderately annoying in the contracting space, right? And my dad was a contractor, hence how I got into digital marketing for contractors, and specifically he did baths. So this is a little bit closer to my amateur expertise than anything else. But you would have bath fitters to the left because people read from left to right. So just technically that just doesn't make a great deal of sense. But I think that these things are helpful to the people that are probably purchasing in this market. And I'm not going to speak to who may be in this market because I would come across as politically incorrect or something like that. So I'm just going to steer well away from that. And that probably definition is probably enough to get me in trouble. But nonetheless, so I'd move it to the left. But it's also like this doesn't make a great deal of sense. Like the cost to do it yourself is moderate. Contractors are high. Okay, that seems reasonable. But you're telling me to do it yourself is the same as bath fitter. The cost, surely you're paying someone to actually do the labor. So even if you do the same parts, I mean, it doesn't make a great deal of sense unless, like you're saying that, because you do it day in, day out, there's, efficiencies of cost. Loosely okay, but that still just leaves a little bit of, a bad taste in my mouth. And I suppose that's what they're alluding to here: time high, time moderate, maybe. But you're saying reglazing, they're the same as them. I don't know. I'm not going to talk all the way through this. Sorry, I'm actually comparing do-it-yourself to contractor, but it's moderate to moderate, high to low. Like you're saying, it doesn't make a degree of disruption. Sure, I agree potentially. And then after sales service, do-it-yourself, like you fulfill the service. You're not goddamn happy. You have to fix the damn thing yourself. Like it should be instant, like contact time. You don't have to send a text message to say, "Hey, Bren, the bathroom's leaking." It's the bathroom's leaking. I have to rip up some tiles and have a look at the waterproofing kind of thing. Like that doesn't make any sense. But nonetheless, we move through and then we move into this section here where we start to talk about the styles of services that they do. So tub to shower, bathtub, and then we've got shower, and then we've got accessories. This is just trying to making sure that they capture all of their target market in terms of services, right? So if this was roofing and someone's after a metal roof, but someone's talking about shingles or something like that, right? It doesn't make a great deal of sense. So you talk about all of the bathroom, if it was plumbing, you talk about general plumbing, block drains, so on and so forth, right? And just to make sure that if the person has just a faucet issue, do you talk about faucet issues? Like no plumber wants to deal with that crap, but you would have to write that if that's what you wanted to do, right? You get the idea. You just have to appeal to the conversation that's happening in the prospect's mind and the prospect that you want to interact with, not the prospect or the prospects in the market. Then it comes down to our process, and they have a video, which I'm not going to go through because it's always a little bit redundant. And we'll move to the next landing page, which is almost identical, except they change the picture. It's a rotating picture. I'm not a big fan of rotation because it's distracting. The human eye is geared towards movement because, hunters and gatherers are walking through, the jungle, the bush, or, the thick scrub. There's a mountain lion, tiger, whatever. We're not great combat animals. In a group, we're fantastic, but singularly or, 1 to 3, we're awful, right? So we detect movement quite well. And when you have movement, it detracts away from people's ability to read. And if something isn't read, value isn't transferred. Value is not transferred, you're unlikely to get the conversion. So move on to the next one. Again, we see an entry pop up. It's a slightly bit different. It's the same page, so we'll skip through another one here and another one, right? There is a couple of other variations, which I will bring up just now. So here's another popular landing page that they use for Facebook, but they also use for Google Ads as well. And what we see here is another, I think, average use of this very valuable real estate, because as we call it, it's above the fold. Above the fold is anything that is below the scroll level, right? So that comes from newspapers. Newspapers used to be folded in half, obviously. So when you picked up the newspaper, above the fold was, extra, read all about it, Superman saved the day kind of thing, or, there was usually something negative, in the newspaper, right? In that, top headline. But as we come here, we see lack of value proposition. We see lack of any real benefits. So like a better bath model, like no one's going to write that we do average bathrooms, but damn, we do it cheap, right? Like a better bath model, like there's no real value transference there. It's just a bit of a cliche kind of really lazy copywriting, to be fair. So like better value propositions would be something along the lines of like the fastest way to your dream bathroom, right? At least it's like saying like it's fast, it's a dream bathroom, right? We're alluding to what exactly the service is. So I think that would do a great deal better. So another headline would be bathrooms that will withstand generations, right? So a little bit of thought here, like generations mean it's implied that, hey, this is going to last a long time. This is really good build quality. I'd put a little dash and I'd say like 2 million trusted customers, right? And then that would have the social proof. It would have like the unique kind of benefit that we have as a company. I would try and work a way to combine the two examples that I provided and write a better one. I'm not going to put that much effort into this video just because talking about lazy copywriting, I'm going to be a little bit lazy in this video in a sense, but that's the work that someone has to do in order to separate themselves in terms of conversion rate, right? This level of thought and this level of work or lack of work in this video case, I wouldn't do it for myself if I was doing this for myself or a client, but for the sake of video, this is a teaching experience, not a doing experience. But what I would do is I put in that level of work because that would lower my cost per lead by possibly 10 or 20%, which means that I'm going to get 10 or 20% more leads for 10 to 20% less, right? That's a transformational kind of outcome for someone's digital marketing. Now, as we come down, we've got a body of text, which is all this is white on kind of lightish background. I comment on this on every video. It just makes it a little bit hard to read, especially when you get over to this section here. It's just awful. But here we're just talking about like a little bit more of the benefits. This actually isn't that poorly written because we're talking about like a low impact, fit your schedule, done in one day, 2 million people served. And then we've got the great trademark here, it just fits. How persuasive is that? Like, just sign me up right now. But nonetheless, another unique kind of characteristic is this isn't a dedicated landing page. We can actually navigate throughout the entire website here, which generally speaking, I'm not a fan of. But in some cases, if you have a really well built out site, that can work. We move down into two different call to actions here. We've got a primary call to action and a secondary, right? Start your design is the primary, hence why it's much more obvious. It contrasts just about everything else. And we have a secondary, right? So it's like, start your design. I don't really know enough. Maybe you want to see before and afters, right? Again, we're talking about proof and credibility. Like, you cannot have enough proof and credibility. Like, it's legitimately one of the biggest things that people get wrong. But, I've spoken about that enough. So hence why they've got like, that's the purpose of a de-emphasized secondary call to action, right? The person hasn't learned enough to do the primary, so we offer a secondary, and we hope that moves the person closer to the journey of becoming a lead. As we come down, we see very similar bullet points, but we see we have no demolition, we have 1 day, and we have lifetime guarantee, right? So we've shortened it up, we've made it a little bit easier to consume too, in my opinion, right? Very short, punchy paragraphs, black text, white background, super easy to read, right? We've got a happy couple here. And, for all intents and purposes, it's not a bad, bathroom that they're in as well, right? And, bath fitter, a better way. And they're very fluffy and generic in their writing and copy. I don't think that works as well as people would like to think. It's a little bit kind of like, copy. It's lazy copywriting. That's what it is. Like, that's really what it is. And I know the irony of me being a little bit lazy before, but you can make a funny comment in the comment section below about that. When it comes here, we've got a couple design a custom bath, and then we've got millions of happy customers, which we've spoken about in previous ones. Bring everything to life, and this will lead us off into other landing pages, right? So again, we're trying to segment people in. So when I was using like the roofing, examples before, right? It's like, what type of roof? This was where you put like, gaff or metal, so on and so forth, tile, right? And people can move on into their, the the service that fits them the best, right? So whether it's bathtub, showers, walls, wainscoting, etc., right? It's that is what it is. Super simple. Here we've got like design your own bath. We have like a little bit of an interactive experience of how that works. Find a bath fitter near you. I don't think that this is all that great because it lacks personalization, right? So your zip code here, it's like, hopefully I blur that out. That was my address. I don't need people turning up to where I live. But here, I don't think that this is great, right? So here you would interact. Ideally, what you would do is that you would have, maybe there's 3 or 4 people in Denver, right? And what you could do is just have like a picture of like, let's say it was me, picture of Bren. It's like, meet your local bath fitter, right? And it's a little bit about me, builds rapport with the prospect. They know who they're about to talk to, so on and so forth. They can, again, proving credibility of me being in this industry, right? And then, that's who you would interact with. We come down to before and afters. These are kind of good. These interactive slides are pretty interesting. People do actually interact with them. You've got to make it really obvious. This is not really obvious as much as you want to think. They've done everything technically correct except for the topography. If you make it hard to read, it is hard to read. But I know that sounds absolutely dumb, but you have to cater for the 3 to 8-year-old to read this, right? Because not everyone reads at an academic standard and not everyone reads cursive all that well. Some people do not read all that well. So any barriers you put up are just going to cost you money, right? So overall, this is like quite good. It's quite interactive and it's a little bit slow to load, but that's fine. And so you can see exactly what they do, right? And then we come down here, we've just got more pictures. These are a bit tacky. These just absolutely stink of stock photography. They do not look legitimate at all, which is going to increase the level of anxiety and skepticism within the prospect looking at the page. So I do not like this at all. I think the more real something is, the better the outcome and the better it pulls, or the better the conversion rate is. And this goes on to like my clients saying that they want to hire a videographer. Right? I had one client use the same video studio that Steve Wozniak from Apple uses. They paid $200,000 to use it for whatever period of time, right? The videos pulled less than the ones in their warehouse shot with an iPhone, because there was just this lack of like, it just seemed this a little bit tacky and a little bit over, too much production, right? So very, very simple videos work the best. Even like I've had clients send them with like, there's a wind hitting the microphone, which so the audio doesn't sound very clear. There's a lot of ums and like pauses and stuff. Who cares? Like, you can loosely clean that up, but it's just real. Prospects don't expect you to be, Steven Spielberg and Brad Pitt or something like that. They expect you to be a contractor. You're good at bathrooms, not movie production. As we move down, we can see here this is a much better layout of testimonials. Again, we've got the summary headline, very much direct response orientated, kind of like, well, this is very much a direct response format here. Summary of the testimonials written as a headline. We've got the 5 stars, we've got the actual testimonials, we've got the name, Dawn, and then we have the actual location. And the other thing that they do wrong here is if we slide across, so they're all New York. Okay, perfect. You do not want these to, this is very awkward to navigate through. So yeah, so this is this is the landing page. So here, the problem that we see is that they're all located everywhere. So like Fort Myers, you want these to be relevant to the location that you're serving. Yes, Bathroom are a nationwide franchise, but don't drop the ball with personalization. This doesn't take too much effort, and it does move the needle in terms of conversions. As we come through to their paid keywords, they do a pretty good job with their ads and paid keywords, right? So we'll have a look at their ads, not in this Ahrefs tool, but a lot of it is in relation to the stuff that they do, right? So it's online bathroom design, bath liner. I don't think they do a great job of landing page to keyword intent, right? So if you're talking about tub reglazing here, and we can see that this one is like it was generic. We don't talk about reglazing or glazing anywhere on that page. So that's going to cause them to have a lower conversion rate, a higher cost per lead, so on and so forth. Ideas is typically an average keyword for me as well. And like dealing with dozens of bathroom and kitchen people, ideas is generally not the best kind of keyword. It's middle of the funnel, maybe earlier the funnel. But we see here, I've also done a video on West Shore Home. They do over $300 million per year in revenue. If you want to have a look at that video, I'll link it in the description below. But we can see here like local bathroom, they do a pretty good job with their keywords. There is room for improvement. They're a little bit too much middle of the funnel, or early middle of the funnel, or at the start of the journey. So like the middle of top of funnel is people who are starting their journey. Middle of the funnel, the people who've gathered a little bit more information. They're almost ready to become a lead. Bottom of funnel is, hey, like, who am I going to pick, right? I've been looking at getting a bathroom. I'm hell bent on picking someone. Who is it going to be? I'm moderately well educated. I think I know enough in order to pick the right person. I'm ready to pull the trigger, right? So they do a reasonable job in terms of their keywords, but the journey from keyword intent to landing page needs to be better. You need that to be very congruent, right? So you're talking about like tub reglaze, but then you send it to a page that doesn't talk about reglazing. You're just going to have a poor experience with Google Ads. So here we see one of their ads. They do a pretty good job with the copywriting of their Google ads, right? So here we see like bath fitter. I'm a big fan of putting the brand name at the start of the ads. I mean, at this stage, no one cares who you are, but we'll move past that. No demolition, stress, or mess. That's very much reiterated on the landing pages, which is fantastic. We've got like more like the service options, right? Again, like metal, shingles, tiles, etc. Like in terms of roofing. But here we've got tub to shower solutions, so on and so forth. Our experts offer you a seamless experience and ideas, right? So this will talk to more of those middle of the funnel kind of keywords when I'm talking about ideas. I still think that the strategy here would be, because these guys are well established, they're just looking for more volume, right? And to get complex for a second, right? So these guys they're targeting bottom of the funnel, but they're also targeting middle and slightly more maybe towards what we consider low top of funnel. The reason why they're doing that is they're utilizing the conversion tracking and the conversion modeling that Google offers, right? And they're probably using a broad keyword approach with really good conversion tracking. What that would mean is that they're using the signals that Google gets back from various properties about individuals and then delivering the ads to people where Google thinks that they are in the market, in the process, and in that journey, right? And they benchmark against all the leads that have been generated by bath fitter, right? So they're trying to deliver ads to people that are more likely to become a conversion, regardless of the intent of the keyword. I know that was a complete mouthful, and hopefully that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, drop me a comment in the comment section below, and I can maybe make a 1 or 2 minute long video about how that works and how a broad approach can help companies with bigger budgets, right? Now, if you are not in that scenario where you're bigger, you've got a large budget, right? Definitely start with the bottom of funnel keywords, right? That's where you'll get a lot better return for the money and time invested. All right, skipping through to their Facebook ads, because their Google ads, there's just not that great. There's not a huge amount to see, right? They have a lot of franchise Google ads, trying to get people to become a franchise, buy a franchise off them, which, that is not something I want to talk about. Moving through to their Facebook ads though. So they do some cool stuff here. The copywriting here is very much along the lines of what I would like to do, or that I do with my clients, right? It's very much offer orientated, proof and credibility orientated, and it is what has been working for me and my clients for 16 or 17 years, right? So this is very much right now, say big, so it's very much instant gratification, right? This is happening right now. Get up to $500 off, no payments for 12 months. A financial offer covers the last 2 bullet points. We've got a testimonial, proof and credibility. Could add the location, right? So if this has been catering for Denver, Trista C is located in Denver, right? And you could also talk about what did she get done, right? Just to add a little bit of more proof and credibility behind the testimonial, the thing that's literally trying to give you proof and credibility, right? And it's also they're trying to instigate a little bit of scarcity here, so we're filling up fast. it's a pretty poor way to do it. Like, we're filling up fast. No. Like, the better way to do it is that we do 8 jobs a month. We've already booked 6, right? We've got 2 spots left. That is the better way, right? And then if the person calls up, you can say that, we're full, and you go through the process. And then what you can, little sneaky tactic, is that you can call the person back and just say, hey, we've got a spot open. We can do you in 2 weeks, right? And that will help. It's like reciprocation. You've given them something, etc., etc. Video for another day, right? But that's getting into salesmanship and stuff like that. There's some cool things that you can do around psychology, and some people might be scratching their head thinking that's a little bit unethical in a sense, but believe me, there's some crazy stuff that happens in all industries and in contracting and construction, very much so. But moving through, we also see here is that these stink of stock photography. Not a huge fan, but nonetheless, that's what these guys are running with. And this one here is like ready to have the bath that you'll love for a lifetime. They don't say bathroom very often, they say bath, right? It's very much a localized renovation. It's not the full bathroom. So again, they're catering for that market, and West Shore Home also cater for that market. They do over 300 million. So there's a lot of money to be made. You have to be a full bathroom renovated in order to make money. This one here will help you with the design of your new bath or shower based upon your needs, custom fit, right? Your needs, again, there's an accessibility kind of issue that arises in this industry with people that have mobility issues. All of our installation free have a lifetime free warranty, so on and so forth. And then we've got some like just after photos, which is decent. And we come to the landing page that we haven't really seen, and it's not too dissimilar. Like, it's pretty similar, but the psychology is very much along lines of what we've already spoke to in this video, is getting on the long, the side of being very long. So I'm just going to not go through that landing page. This one here, so they're testing multiple different forms of copy here, as we can see, right? And the purpose of that is, if you're not testing, you're not improving, and what isn't measured cannot be optimized, right? So they do a really good job here of their ads, and they have multiple different Facebook pages down to location, right? So these guys are running, a myriad of different styles of ads. And if we come up here, we can see the actual core business, or what I'd say is the corporate side of their Facebook ads, do not do as good a job as the previous Facebook page that I just showed you. So it's very much like 1-page installation, lifetime warranty, book now, and that this takes them to the landing page that we did go through. They also use like instant forms, which I'm a big fan of, right? When used properly, I audit 3 to 5 Facebook ad accounts every week. And a good chunk of them use Facebook Messenger ads and also instant forms. They do a poor job with it. They wonder why lead quality is low. It's because you've given plumbing tools to Bren, you're going to get a terrible outcome, right? You give the really good tools that work really well to people who don't know how to use them, you get shitty, low quality leads, like people complain about. And so like instant forms works really well. You just got to know how to use it. So there's tons of like videos here that they do in terms of proof of credibility, a lot of testimonial stuff that the corporate side of the company runs and does well with. But these guys have tons of ads. A lot of ad spend would be behind this. So the conversion modeling and conversion machine learning and like loosely like self-optimization that Facebook has within their Facebook ads platform will be helping these guys a lot to distribute ads to the people that are most likely going to convert, right? So again, like when you're talking about these large guys, right, there's an element of, okay, let's not reinvent the wheel, let's try and emulate them, but we have to add a little bit of context to it, right? Especially when it gets to the subtle nature of this, right? Because their pixel and conversion tracking has so much data, it will improve terrible ads and terrible targeting a lot because they have a lot of conversion data that can help offset the poor management of their Facebook ads. If they were poor management, it's okay. I mean, the previous Facebook page was a little bit better, but anyway, who knows? It might not be better, but if I had to guess, I'd be putting $100 on the previous Facebook page. But that doesn't mean that you should be doing the same approach. I would emulate the previous Facebook page if you were, medium to small in the bathroom niche or kitchen niche, right, or as a contractor, because they do a lot better with the conversation about building rapport, building proof and credibility, having a very good offer, so on and so forth. There's still a lot to improve with their Facebook ads, but that is the previous Facebook page is a better model than this set of ads here. So if you want to have a closer look at these guys, go to the Meta Ads library and just type in bath fitter and they'll come up. That moves me on to the most important part of the video, and that is that if you want to have a chat about your marketing, completely no obligation, completely free. I enjoy the conversations no matter what the intent is behind them. You can reach out to me at brenhamel.com. All you have to do is just scroll down, smash this button here, select whether you're a contractor or you're an agency or freelancers. A freelancer, I've spoken to well over 1,000 agency and freelance people in my life. I still love to speak to them. I still speak to a couple every week. I was speaking upwards of 10 per week, but I've had to associate a cost with speaking to agency and freelance people because 10 per week was like 10 to 12 hours per week of my time. And as much as I do enjoy them, it was just the final straw broke the camel's back, and unfortunately I just had to gate it at some level. But contractors and construction guys, you can speak to me all day, every day, and whether you want to work with me or not, I don't care. There's really no obligation, and you also get a free audit with that conversation as well. So I'll have a look at your Facebook ad account, your Google Ads account. If you're doing anything else, I can have a look at that, such as TikTok, so on and so forth, email, automation systems, even your CRM, I can have a look at that as well. And that's completely free, no obligation. I'm here and all there, whether you do or don't do it. So with that being said, if you have any topics that you'd like me to cover in future videos, drop them in the comment section below, and smash that like and subscribe, because it does help me make more videos, because they are damn hard for me to make. And today being one of them, I did not want to make this one, but now that I've made it, I'm a fair bit happier. So yeah, I'll see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.